I'll pay you double if you have a balance." The manager laughed, not knowing it was the bank CEO. The bank doors creaked open as sunlight poured into the lobby. People shuffled inside, clutching deposit slips, withdrawal forms, and tired faces. Among them walked a man who didn't stand out in the slightest. His shirt was faded at the collar, his watch old, and his shoes scuffed. He carried himself with calmness, yet anyone looking at him would have assumed he was struggling to make ends meet. That man was David Collins, the CEO of the very bank, whose name shined in golden letters above the entrance. But today, David wasn't there as a CEO. He wasn't there to shake hands with investors or attend board meetings. He was there, undercover, blending into the crowd, determined to see how ordinary customers were treated when no one knew who they were. For weeks, he had received anonymous letters from customers complaining about arrogance, disrespect, and favoritism inside his branches. David couldn't ignore it anymore. He had built this bank on trust, on the belief that every customer, whether rich or poor, deserved dignity. And so he had left his expensive suit in the closet, put away his polished shoes, and walked in as nothing more than an average man. As David waited in line, he noticed how staff treated people. An elderly woman asked a simple question about her pension, and the teller sighed impatiently, rushing her along. A young immigrant father tried to understand account charges but was waved off with a dismissive tone. David's chest tightened. This wasn't the bank he had built. This was arrogance in action. When it was finally his turn, he stepped to the counter and asked softly, "Excuse me, could you check my account balance?" The teller glanced at him briefly, but before she could respond, the branch manager, Mr. Reynolds, appeared beside her. A tall man with slicked back hair, polished shoes, and an ego that filled the room. Reynolds looked David up and down. His lips curled into a mocking smile. "Sir," he said loudly enough for customers nearby to hear, "are you sure you even have a balance to check? People like you usually waste our time. You don't exactly look like you're holding millions in your pocket." Laughter broke out among a couple of people waiting. The teller froze, unsure what to do. David kept his expression calm, his voice even. "I'll pay you double if you can confirm whether I have a balance or not." The manager burst into laughter, clutching his stomach as though David had just told the funniest joke of the year. "Double?" He sneered. "Look at you. You probably don't even have $20 to your name. Save us all some time and step aside." The humiliation was sharp, but David stood firm. His eyes never wavered. "I insist. Please check." The teller hesitated, but under David's steady gaze, typed in his account details. Her screen flickered, then froze. Slowly, her mouth fell open. She blinked once, twice, unable to believe the numbers staring back at her. Her voice trembled. "Sir, your balance it's extraordinary." The manager leaned over, annoyance etched on his face. What could possibly? Then his words stopped. His eyes widened. The figure on the screen was astronomical, hundreds of millions in the account. Enough to buy out competitors, enough to fund entire towns, enough to silence the arrogance that had just poured from his lips. The air in the lobby changed. The laughter that once mocked David died in people's throats. Silence replaced it. Embarrassment hung heavy, pressing down on every corner of the room. The manager staggered back, his face pale. "Sir, I didn't realize. Forgive me." David's voice, still calm but now filled with authority, cut through the silence. "You didn't realize because you didn't care. You judged me the second you saw me, not as a customer, not as a human being, but as someone beneath you. Is that how you think a bank should operate? By mocking those who walk through these doors?" No one dared move. Even the security guard, who had been leaning on the wall moments earlier, now stood straighter, his eyes fixed on the floor. David continued, his words deliberate. "This bank was built for the people. Farmers, workers, teachers, single parents, small business owners. They may not come in wearing suits, but they are the reason this institution exists. Without them, we are nothing. And yet you, someone meant to serve, chose to humiliate." Tears brimmed in the teller's eyes. Customers shifted uncomfortably, ashamed of having laughed. The weight of truth was undeniable. David straightened his shoulders. His next words were sharp and final. "Mr. Reynolds, clear your desk. You're dismissed immediately." Gasps echoed across the lobby. The manager stumbled forward, panic in his voice. "Please, Sir David, Miss Collins, I didn't mean." "Yes, you did," David cut in firmly. "You meant every word. Arrogance is not a slip of the tongue, it's a habit, and habits like yours poison the trust this bank was built on. I won't allow it." Reynolds' protest died in his throat. He turned pale, realizing his career had ended not with applause but with disgrace. David then softened his voice as he addressed the teller. "And you," he said gently, "thank you for checking the balance despite pressure. Never forget your job is not just about numbers on a screen. It's about people. Every single one deserves respect." The teller nodded quickly, tears running down her cheeks. The story spread like wildfire. By evening, social media buzzed with posts about the mystery man who revealed himself as the bank's. Employees whispered it in hallways, customers shared it in marketplaces, and within days the story reached newspapers and television. But more than a story, it became a lesson. For weeks afterward, people noticed a change. The same branch that once carried an air of arrogance now radiated warmth. Customers walked in and were greeted with genuine smiles. The elderly woman no longer felt rushed. The immigrant father finally had his questions answered patiently. When David returned, this time in his polished suit, surrounded by his executives, he didn't use the private entrance. He stood once again in line with the customers, waiting his turn, and this time, no one dared laugh. Instead, people greeted him with humility, respect, and even admiration. As he left the branch that day, David turned to his assistant and spoke words that would echo for years. "Every person has a balance. Some keep it in money, some in respect, some in kindness. The richest people are not those with the largest accounts, but those who give dignity freely. Never forget that." And with those words, David walked away, leaving behind not just a changed bank, but a changed community. A reminder carved into everyone's heart that day. Respect is priceless, and humanity will always be the greatest currency.